So Hamish, great to be sitting down with you and talking about the whole why Marshall White from a listing point of view.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most important things, that's one of the biggest questions that clients have got in their mind. You know, how you position and start to differentiate.
Yeah.
And the big challenge is that whole sea of sameness, or are we creating that strong point of difference?
Yeah.
So I'd love to have a chat with you as to how you go about starting to create that differentiation and what you guys bring to the table.
Yeah, well, I always think that most clients from the outside looking in will think that we are all very similar. I personally think it comes back to what we represent in terms of in the marketplace. And even a couple of years ago, or a number of years ago now, we separated our marketplace, so we created Marshall White One, which focused in on the properties that were under $1 million. Even to the point that some of our competitors laughed at what we were doing, but it's been super successful for us. And what it allowed Marshall White to do was really focus in on the family home market, which is obviously what we're sitting in right now. So, and that's what I think has been very beneficial for the clients in the marketplace, selling through Marshall White. So we really focus in that market. We obviously have great market share in Surrey Hills and Canterbury currently, so in that market. So that's what I think really benefits the client.
Yeah, very much so.
It's more focused in, more specialisation. When our salespeople are out there on the ground every Saturday doing 5 or 6 opens, they're standing on very similar properties, so they're coming into contact with so many people.
Yeah. So how would you say that? Would you talk about what Marshall White represents, or how would you frame and position that with a client?
I'd definitely talk about what we represent in the marketplace, and it's the benefit to a client is absolutely how many people we're meeting at those opens. It's a matter of then using that data or using those people to the maximum and pushing them from property to properties. But if that property is not specifically for them, then moving them to the next property, and the buyer referral system is very important. So the benefit to a client is absolutely the number of homes. The market share is obviously very relevant, but it's also how they're treated at those inspections and how they're followed up. Yeah.
So you're really starting to support the process for a client to get that the entire team is directing traffic and stimulating the market even more so. Correct. So not just waiting for the marketing to do the job. Yeah. When people turn up to this open, what other properties, assuming that one isn't relevant, so I think it's an important point from a client point of view, where can we take this to?
Correct. 1 in 5 of our sales are still through the sales team referrals of buyers in the marketplace. So we absolutely have a process. When a new property comes on, when we first list that home, an email gets sent out to the entire team saying that new listing, and we flag whether that property can be referred or not, and if it can be referred, then the guys get straight on the front foot, and we have a process of really submitting that home to our well-qualified buyers, so we get them alerted to the home even prior to any marketing begins.
Yeah, fantastic. And you'd have that conversation with clients? Out there.
Absolutely.
So I love the well-qualified buyers. Even before the marketing begins, it's really stimulating the market well and truly.
Correct. It just gives you you start your campaign in the right fashion.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, in terms of teamwork within Marshall White and communication, how would you position that?
So with our teamwork, we've really made sure that within our sales offices, we've got 4 principal offices obviously. Within the sales offices, we discuss each property on a Tuesday morning in our sales meeting. We have an update from each salesperson who's managing that campaign, who are the 2 or 3 4 main prospects on that home, and we also discuss the price point as to where the level of interest is, and that communication is really important, so people are aware that those buyers are running on those specific homes, and then those buyers are not then taken away to something that's off market or something that's just about to hit the market. These people are running on those properties currently, so we protect that for those vendors.
Yeah, fantastic. What I'm loving about these points, Hamish, you're really making some of those invisible things that I can't make a decision based on. You're making them visible in the listing process. So, I didn't know you do that. Didn't know you do that.
Well, as I said at the start, I mean, every agent looks the same when they put the ads in the paper or on the on the internet, and I always flag saying that every fish is in the sea and on the internet. So it's about putting your property aside from that, or setting it aside from the competition. So we're never in isolation, and if we can do these things, these 1%ers, it can make a difference at the end result. Yeah. So we're protecting the sellers that are selling, We're obviously communicating with the team so they know where the interest is at, so they can dialogue it appropriately in the marketplace and get the buyers thinking that that's where it's going to head to.
Yeah, great. Now you talked to the broader team there. Do you also drill into and talk the specific team?
Yeah, we do. We bring it right into the team. In terms of our internal team, we discuss all our properties obviously on a Monday morning in my team meeting, and then
would you talk about with them who's in that team? So you'd run through.
Yeah. So each client that we sell for, the important thing is to have the correct team on the playing ground, so to speak, or representing that client. So if it's something that's more specifically tailored towards the Chinese market, so I recently sold a property in Kew, very tailored towards the Chinese market. Absolutely, for that client, it was important that I had a Chinese agent representing you. So we had a team of 3 people. I really bring it back to me, the fact that I'm driving their campaign. I'm then going to auction their property, but the key is getting the correct team representing them. So we had a sales agent plus a Chinese sales agent. So my direct colleague, Kane, and also Sophie, who represented the Chinese market, and that was very effective. So we do make sure the right people are on the playing field, so to speak, as I said.
Yeah. Now, do you make that decision before you go out and meet with them, or I guess it depends on how well you know them prior to the listing appointment, whether you've defined the team or whether you might bring some team members into the equation?
Well, through my follow-up, and some of them obviously I've been in touch with for many years, Michael, so through the years of follow-up I'll know what type of people they might be, so I'll make sure that when I'm going out there or when I'm putting the correct salesperson on, I'm actually putting the correct salesperson on it. Yep. So there's not going to be a personality clash. They're going to represent the market that they specialise in. For instance, one of my colleagues, Desiree, will absolutely represent Campbell, Canterbury, Surrey Hills. She's good in that sort of thing. That's her focus market. Andrew more Hawthorn East. David more Kew. So again, we specialise our salespeople into certain areas. So.
Yeah, but people feel connected, feel comfortable, because that's when they're going to take the best advice, and rapport will be in the place and all those sorts of things. In terms of, then would you cover off any more in terms of what do I bring? What do you actually bring to the table?
I really bring it back to my control of the process. Yep. I always talk about the fact that I've never been too busy to follow them up. So it's really, and they're employing me, so it's really important that they feel comfort around that. It's me driving my name will be on the boards and brochures, so I'll be handling all inquiries. So as a director, I don't suddenly take a very hands-off approach. I'm absolutely at every inspection that I can be at, sometimes 4 or 5 out of the 6, but normally I try to be 6 out of the 6, and then conducting the auction. And that my control, I'm really an extension of that client out the front. Mm-hmm. So that's, I know more about the home, I know more about the owner, and then me going out there, I know more about the marketplace because I've been standing at the open for inspection. So I really bring it back to me. I do the follow-up, do the process, do the whole negotiations and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So there's a lot of belief transfer in what we've actually covered off here. Are there any other points that you bring up in terms of why Marshall White?
Well, I think results, and I'm a firm believer that we actually get better results, in my view, than our competitors. And I think it's through some of the things that I've touched on, but I know that's hard to say, from the outside looking in, do we actually get the better results? But if you know in the heart of hearts that you do, and I try and transfer that message to the clients, that's every individual client is super special to us, and it's something that market share can breed complacency. My brother and I have always been of the view that every kick is very important to us on the footy field, and we've got some sting in the tail, and we make sure every result's a winner.
Yeah. And it's great that you're actually able to integrate an AFL metaphor in there, well and truly.
Correct. But no, I think absolutely our track record's there now. And but early days when we were early in the piece of opening up Burundara, we had to we didn't have the results on the board, so we had to prove our worth, and we had to demonstrate and through case studies that we were the best choice for them.
Yeah, fantastic, Hamish. Well, that's brilliant around why Marshall White. I think this video will be watched many, many times to pull out the gems, because there's some great dialogue in amongst that, how you actually frame and position it from a client point of view.
Yeah, well, it's credibility in the marketplace. I've always tried to beat my competitors before the before it comes up for the toss type of thing. So rather than a beauty parade of agents, the credibility is proven through follow-up and through the chase lists and working your chase list as hard as you can. And if you just do subtle sort of sells on the way through, you just work through that selling process, selling yourself, selling the company throughout that process of the follow-up. And then when it gets to the pointy end, you might be 80% of the way there.
Yeah, absolutely.
70, 80 maybe,
absolutely.
Michael.
And then tip some of the points in that you've just mentioned
Correct.
here, which are really at listing kind of those little 1%ers.
There'll be some comfort around myself by that time.
Yeah.
There'll be absolutely comfort around myself, and as I said, 70 or 80% of the way maybe, but you need to create that credibility through the actual company and branding, and we're very proud of the brand, obviously. So.
Yeah. Hamish, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michael.
Well done.
Good luck.